What's good, y'all? What's up? What's popping? What's happening? Another good episode. Another really good episode. And next episode looks like it's going to be good too. I was going to say next week, but I don't know if we're doing it next week because I know they're doing the VMAs, which looks to be hella fucking whack considering the lineup of performers. They got Meg Thee Stallion, who I love, hosting the most whack lineup ever. And that's supposedly on next Wednesday at 8, which y'all know this comes out Wednesday at 8. So I don't know. Y'all tell me if we have an episode next week. I don't think we do because I looked on the guide. I didn't see it. So I don't know. Y'all might see me in 2 weeks after this. But we're going to get into this. If you are new here, subscribe. Please do that right now. Thumbs up the video. Please do that right now. Y'all don't understand how much thumbsing up a video and dropping a comment helps push a video out. That would help bring more people to me, which means we have more conversations in the chat or in the comments. So let's do that. And enough of me rambling. Let's go. So yeah, like I said last week, I feel like they're starting to do these like not rivals. Previous seasons, they do like a flashback of a mission that's going to be done on the episode, which was what happened. They showed the flashback at the beginning of Rivals 1, I believe, if I remember correctly, of the trivia mission that they did, which I'm like, so we're probably going to have a trivia mission this season, or this episode. But that's exactly what happened. We'll get to it. But everybody's returning to the house from the elimination. Bananas knows that every other team is going to salivate at the chance of throwing him and Laurel into that elimination if they lose. Laurel's talking to Johnny, talking about she's wondering why Darrell decided to pick her because she thought they were cool. She thought we were good. Like, what is this coming? Like, this came from nowhere. Like, why are you voting me in? But she's also happy that she's with Johnny, even though they're the targets. But she expects him to kind of like go up against the wall and do what she would do. Like, she feels like she's happy that she's got Johnny with her because at the end of the day, both of them are going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that they're safe. They're that selfish and that self-centered that they're going to make sure that they're good. So if you got to be a target with anybody, being a target with Johnny is not a bad thing, especially if you're set to go into the elimination. He's not going to try and force himself in. But era 3, you got them having a conversation. It's Devin, Corey, Janae, Tori, and Avery. They're talking. Devin didn't want the numbers to dwindle down on their end, but Tony being gone, they still look like a strong team. So he's not too worried about that. But Jordan thinks what did I say? I said Jordan thinks they thanked Jordan for stepping up to go ahead and be the target for the week. But they all agreed at this moment to do a rotation to keep the morale within the group. I can't remember if they made a decision on who would be the next to volunteer. Y'all let me know down below, but this comes up later on and we'll get to it. But I don't remember hearing anybody say, okay, well, I'll go next, but we'll get to it. But if they did, drop it down below and let me know. But they agreed to do that. But Tori ends up mentioning how Aneesa's pissed off at Darrell for doing what he did. We all knew that was going to happen. But the next morning, you got Jenny and Aneesa. They're pretty much working out. You can tell Jenny's pretty much trying to give her tips and stuff. And not only that, she's giving Aneesa a lot of like props on who she is, where she is body-wise. Aneesa says strength does not have to look a certain way. That is true. And I feel like she should love her body. But what I said at the beginning, when I did the cast analysis, I believe that, and she's not lying. There are people that are bigger boned that are still super healthy. The reason why I say she needs to get in the gym and work is because, yes, she's overweight, but not only that, we've seen how injury prone she is. That plays a factor into it. If you're not physically active, if you're not doing something, your bones are weaker. So when they're weaker, you get injured more, especially when you're doing shit like this. That's why I said she needs to be in the gym. And she needs to be in the gym doing a lot of strength exercising. Like, she needs to be doing all of that. She needs to be doing cardio. She needs to strengthen her bones. And I'm not saying that like she needs to lose weight, but I'm just saying she needs to kind of tighten some things up because all that pressure on your weak bones, you're going to get injured. But Aneesa she tells us how she went into surgery after tearing her ACL on the last season that she was on. She immediately went into recovery and she got herself back to where she can actually get out here and compete. But Josh and Tori, they are working out their issues. As we all know, the last episode, they had a little issue. But she says that she doesn't hold anything against him after everything that they went through in that episode. and wants to hear him out so that they can get on a good page and move past that little debacle that they had. He says that he loves and cares for her too much, and the way that he spoke to her was out of pocket, and he looks at her as family. We all knew this was not going to last with them two not being friends. These people in this vacation alliance, they are like this anyways, but he knows that having her as a number is better for his game, which is smart, and it is true. It's better for his game to have her on his side than to not have her on his side. But Horacio, we see a scene of him. He's talking about how he's not in the best place because Nerese is not there, and he only feels like he has Kylan. I said, Horacio, make connections. It's time for you to actually try and figure out a way to make connections. Like, you're not in a good space because you don't have your safe place there, but you also have to get to know these people. Like, you put yourself out here. It is a social game, and you can't sit here and play, oh, well, I'm alone. Yeah, you're alone because you're not doing anything about it. Yes, I'm very introverted too. Like, I'm 50% introverted. I'm probably more introverted than I am an extrovert. But I know when I'm around certain people, you got to socialize. And in situations like this, you have to socialize. Social game is a big part of this game. So he's got to do that. And I feel like with Kylan would actually do that. Kylan, he probably wouldn't make as many connections because of the fact that he is such a beast when it comes to eliminations. Nobody would want to keep him there because of it. Same thing with Horacio, but I feel like Horacio is nice enough to where people would actually want to be around him. But they move to the mission. TJ congratulates Avery and Darrell for winning their eliminations. It's the trivia mission. Not many people are excited because they know they're going to be up there in the air and they're going to be dropping in the water. But they have this mission called Cradled Cranium. So they'll be in a cradle position 30 feet up above water. They'll be asked a series of questions about the challenge. They played it Jeopardy style. They had them like in little categories, and there were a certain amount of points that each team could get. So the objective is you want to get the most points. The team with the most points will win. The objective is, let me read it right. You answer correctly, you get the points that you had. So you say, basically you choose one. It's like Jeopardy. So you say, I want this one for 200. If you get it right, you get the 200 points. If you don't, you don't. You drop. 2 people drop if you get it wrong. So that happens, and the team with the most points will win if the targeted error. So because we all know there's 2 people from each error that are being targeted. The 2 targets, if your error loses first, you win the elimination immediately. So the objective is to get your team to at least win. Derrick Cancun wants to dismantle Era 4, which is smart. They're the strongest ones on paper, physically. But they begin. We're not going to talk about all of them because I'm like, that's too much. But I'll talk about the first set. Jordan, he was up first. He chose history for 100. The question was, who was the first solo champ to win the show? I immediately knew it was Cara Maria. Jordan said West, like he wasn't there on the challenge whenever she won. But it was Cara. She was like, he was on the season. Like, how do you not know that? But Corey and Nia were the 2 that dropped because Jordan got it wrong. Josh was next. He chose Throwdown for 100. The question was the 2 players that got physical at the beginning of the season. We all knew that. Like, come on. That is one of the most probably iconic. I don't want to say iconic is the word, but that's one of the most notable moments in the challenge. CT versus Adam. Y'all don't remember that? What was that? I think it was the Duel 2. That was a good season too. That was a really good season. But yeah, they fought and CT knocked the shit out of Adam. But he got that wrong because he chose Darrell and Derrick. I'm like, maybe he was thinking Darrell and Brad, but that did not happen at the beginning of the season. So he got that wrong. Josh and Olivia dropped. Aneesa chose the love story hookups and for 100 points. And they asked about Kendall showman. She said West. That was wrong. She had a showman's with Mike the Miz. Darrell and Brad dropped. Cara Maria went up. She got hers wrong. Aviv and Cara dropped. It gets to the point where Kylan's pretty much trying to figure out a way to get more points to help out Horacio, since Horacio is his number 1 in the game and he's a target. So, like I said, you want to make sure that your team wins. If you have the most points, you win. So he's trying to go for 400. And that's a harder question. So once you go for a higher amount of points, the questions are harder. He got it wrong, paid for it. Casey and Jenny dropped. Derrick answered his wrong. CT ended up flipping. He did a whole flip, hit that water hard. And he starts grimacing. They ended up getting medical out there, got him on a stretcher, took him out. He left. They continue to play. Era 4 is down to only Theo and Kylan. Every other team at this point still has a good amount of people up there. Kylan ends up getting the answer wrong. Both of them drop. Kylan feels like he failed Horacio because he is automatically in that elimination with Jenny. So those two are automatically in the elimination. Era 1, they end up getting out next. Is down to Era 2 versus Jordan. Jordan is the only one from Era 3 at this point. Nia is relying on Jordan to win to secure that both of them are good. They're safe. They want to be the ones that get to dictate who the other targets are that go in against Horacio and Jenny. So it's Jordan up against like 4 people at this point. But they do that. Jordan ends up going and getting his incorrect. He drops. Era 3 ends up getting down. Era 3 is down because he was the last one. Era 2 was still up there. They missed their next question, but it's tied. Keep in mind, these are the points. The points are in factor at this point because you have to have the most points to win. So they're trying to get more points. They're tied at this point. So it's between them and Era 3. The next question, Era 2 got it wrong again. They dropped. That was Laurel. I think it was Laurel and Derrick, I want to say, that was still up there. They dropped. So now it's a sudden death round. So they answer the questions on the ground now because they ain't going to put them back up there. So they chose Laurel to represent 2 and Jordan to represent 3. So Laurel goes up, gets her question correct. I forget what her question was. Jordan's question was, who was Devin's rival on Rivals 3? Who was his rival? I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, was it Amanda? And I'm sitting there because I was thinking Rivals 3. I don't know why Amanda popped in my mind, but Nelson and Amanda, they were rivals. But Devin's was Cheyenne. Why did this man say something like, who did he say? Like Sylvia or Chantel, some shit like that. Corey was over there like, hey, look over here. It's me. Like, look at me. Like, my baby mama, me. Jordan got it wrong, and Corey was pissed because he like, you went to the baby shower. Like, not the baby shower. You went to the gender reveal, and you know she's the mother of my child. The first one. But he got it wrong. Era 2 wins. Laurel starts jumping around all happy and says, fuck you, Darrell. Fuck you. She got him activated. Darrell, you want me back? Because Darrell pissed me off last week. But he want me back because Darrell got activated. He said, fuck you too, Laurel, you fake ass bully. He was going in on her. She was going in on him. She then says, get more massages when you're married. Said that Emily had gave him massages. Pretty much being messy. This is the part about Laurel that I don't like. Don't be trying to fuck around and fuck up a happy home, which Darrell and his wife and his 2 kids have a very happy home. Don't do that because you don't have a happy home, Laurel. But Emily doing massages, it did, when she said it, I was like, because you know how Emily in the either episode 1 or 2 was talking about how she hoped that Nani was not Nani, Casey was single or was not with Nani because she would slip on in. And then we know how she's been dealing with Brad and she's been cool with Tori post show or before the show, even though Tori's not with Brad anymore, even though she keeps tabs on Brad like she is. Emily and Tori was cool. And then I feel like there's a certain code that you should have, male or female. You shouldn't be dealing with your friends' exes. So that's strike number 2. And then I'm like, 3, her, regardless, I do believe it was innocent. But just considering her track record so far this season on what she's done, it didn't look good to me. But at least on Emily's end, I don't feel like Darrell was doing anything wrong. But she said she does that for a living, like whatever. But they head back to the house. CT comes back to the house, so we know CT's good for him. They all head out on the town for the night. As you all know, they like to go out, and they have to go out because who wants to be stuck up in the house every single day for, 2-3 months? But Bananas tells Laurel that he'd be happy with Horacio or Jordan going home because he obviously don't want to run. He don't want to run a final against them in the end. Who would? But Nia and Jordan, we get a scene of those two pretty much strategizing. They're the 2 that are the targets for Era 3. They're trying to figure out a game plan so that when they go in there to plead their case, they have something laid out that can make them not go in. So Jordan wants Nia to pretty much be prepared on what she's going to say to Bananas, pretty much gas him up about how Johnny and Jordan aren't on bad terms like they normally were back in the day. Pretty much saying like, I ain't heard him say nothing about you in a negative way, yada, yada, yada. Pretty much big him up to where Johnny feels like he can trust the 2 of them. Nia knows she got to step up her political game because she's not as fit as she once was. Nia knows she's not the strongest in the house, and she doesn't know where Jordan and her stand on a popularity standpoint in regards to the house. Like, she don't know if we really are that popular to where people would not want to vote us in. So she knows she got to step up in that political game. But Corey and Devin, they're talking, and they're talking about how they should have won. They think Jordan might have threw the shit because, like I just said, he was at their gender reveal. Corey thought that shit was fishy. Devin thought that shit was fishy. Jordan is in his confessional saying her name slipped his mind. And when he said it, he didn't look convincing at all. So I'm like, was he really throwing it? And if he was, how is this going to pan out for the rest of the season? We'll see. But Brad and Emily, they look like they were on a date. Avery, Aneesa, and Laura are watching it on the side, excited about it. Emily is sitting there trying to talk game. And Brad, in my opinion, was looking like he didn't want to talk no game. He wanted to actually get to know Emily. That right there let me know Emily don't fuck with Brad like that. He's like, she don't want him like that. He look like he wants some of her, but she don't look like she wants some of him. But they start talking game and whatever. Bananas Derrick K, which is Kosinski, OG Derrick, and Aneesa, they're talking about having to make tough decisions because Derrick and Aneesa are the two for Era 1 that are the targets. And Bananas pretty much is weighing his options because he knows he's super close with Derrick and Aneesa, or at least I don't want to say super close, but has a lot more history with those two than he does the rest of the people, which would be Nia and Jordan, and then Horacio and Jenny. But he pretty much is saying like he knows Laurel is not likely to vote in Nia and Jordan. So he knows that he would want to vote in Jordan and Nia to make sure that Jordan goes in to eliminate Jordan and Horacio. At least one of the two would go home. Those are two big threats. He doesn't want to vote in Derrick and Aneesa because obviously he's closer to them and has bigger history with them, and they would not throw him in per se. I don't know about Aneesa. Derrick might not, but Aneesa definitely, I can see Aneesa throwing him in, and I don't blame her because they throw you in at every chance. So why would I have any loyalty to y'all? But he's not trying to have another Tony situation. So he's like, this is going to be interesting to see how this happens. He pretty much knows it's going to be hard, but Laura's going to have to agree with him, and both of them are too hard-headed that they're going to end up butting heads. But Horacio and Laurel, they're talking. He's saying that he wants to go up against Jordan. I was like, okay, that's interesting. But he also wants to run against the best in the final. Laurel says that she wants Horacio and Jordan in the final. Era 2, they have a deliberation. And Nehemiah, we're on episode 4. I didn't even know he was here. I think I did. Did I talk about him in my cast analysis? I don't even remember. I did not know Nehemiah was here until he came on the screen today. Crazy. But they wanted to have a team decision so that it's not all on Laurel and Bananas to make that decision on who to put in. Laurel feels like Jordan extended himself to her in previous seasons, so she wants to repay the favor. Nehemiah wants Jordan down in the elimination. Laurel said there's no other option. I'm not putting him in there. Ryan also says he's not with that shit. Well, he's saying this in his confessionals. He's not with Laurel wanting to protect Jordan. He doesn't like how she's trying to control everything, pretty much to make it better for Laurel instead of better for the team. The team wants Jordan and Nia in. Laurel does not. He talks about their fractured friendship. He said that he knows that she don't have his back and he does not have hers. Era 2 is still saying that Era 1 is not a threat. They can keep them in their back pocket, aka like get the young ones out. You got Horacio and Jenny already in the elimination. You got Nia and Jordan who can easily beat those two. That's their thought process behind it. Because you throw Derrick and Aneesa in, there's a possibility they might not come back. But Cara is talking about how Bananas and Laurel being in power are the two most annoying people on this earth. That can be true. Same thing can be said about you, though, Cara Maria. But Laurel ends up saying that she's going to do anything to save Jordan in the game. She ain't budging. We get to the chamber. Derrick K, I was proud of him because Derrick is not up here. He's not all the way. He's never really been all the way right up here. He's always been good with this. The physicality, he's always been good. The mental aspects, he's never been that good. So for him to pull out a paper of notes, and it actually made sense, he was pretty much stating Era 3 and Era 4 are the biggest threats to y'all. We're not. Us going home is not going to do anything for y'all. It's not going to change anything in the game. Getting one of these two out, Horacio or Jordan, that's going to make it easier for you. That's pretty much what he's saying. Like, Jordan going home, you probably got a cakewalk to the end. Horacio going home, you going to buy yourself a couple more weeks. So he made a very valid pitch. I was shocked. Bananas was sold on it, obviously, because he already was sold on it. But he knows Laurel's going to have to be swayed a lot more. So Jordan then pipes in and says that we're one of the best teams here. That can be either a positive or a negative. You can have the best team here that's going to kick your ass every single time, or you can have the best team here that's going to win and they might not throw you in. So also a very solid pitch. He's pretty much saying you want to keep us here so that we can, like, if y'all give us this bone, we're going to give it back to you. Nia pretty much backs it up and says, like, if you extend the courtesy to us, we'll do it to y'all. She's trying to work the angle to keep protection on her side to keep her out of the elimination. Aneesa then jumps in and says, you also got to factor in the winner of these eliminations. They're going to be able to choose the next target. Also factual. But Bananas is basically saying, like, it's going to be, he's in between decisions with the people that he's pretty much built relationships with, sends them off, they go off. Jenny is over there with her team, Era 4. She's nervous trying to figure out, okay, if I go down here, well, I'm going to be down here. If I win, I have to pick a target. She doesn't want to pick a target because she doesn't want the heat on her. Jenny is scared because she don't want blood on her hands because she knows the minute she says somebody else's name, they can easily come back and do it to her because she did it. And she has no choice at this point. If she wins, she has no choice but to put blood on her hands, which is why I love it. I love it. It forces these people to not play a pussy game. And if you do, you're going to have to stand on it. Like, you're going to have to say what you did. But Josh is talking about how he's put in a lot of work into making himself better physically. He said that he will nominate himself to be their target. So whoever wins should be saying Josh's name. He also said he knows what it takes to win. I said, win what? Because you ain't win shit at the challenge. You done did about, 6 seasons? And you ain't won not one. Yeah, you won Big Brother, and you only won, to be honest, because that season was very, very, very petty and bitter. I was happy that he won because I didn't like Paul. But you didn't win because you played a better game. You won because they was bitter and hated Paul. But that's a story for another day. Nia, she's still concerned about Bananas, regardless of how comfortable Jordan feels about Laurel, because it's Bananas. Bananas ain't got no loyalty to anybody. He's shown that plenty of times before. So she's ready to go in there and kick somebody's ass. So we get to the elimination. Bananas and Laurel make the decision to throw in Derrick and Aneesa versus Horacio and Jenny. Nia and Jordan are safe. Happy because my girl Nia is safe. Jordan, take him or leave him. Derrick respects their decision, but he doesn't believe it's the right one to make. That is subjective. But the game that they're playing is called Pick It Up. There's 2 bamboo tracks with 80 jacks, 40 for each player. The objective is they have to reach into a basket, grab a ball, shoot it basketball style. Into the tracks, it rolls. As it rolls, they have to go grab as many of those jacks that are around, grab them, and also catch the ball as it comes out. And then they have to take, once they catch it, they take the jacks that they have and go put them on the board. They repeat it until they have 40 jacks on the board. If they drop the ball, all the jacks that they have in their hand, they have to go drop them off further away, which then makes it harder for them because they still have to go get those jacks and get it before the ball ends up hitting the ground. So the first team to get, the first players to get 40 will win. They played in 2 heats, the men versus the men, the women versus the women. I would have killed this because I grew up playing basketball. I ran. I played soccer. This is in my wheelhouse. It's endurance. It's speed. It's shooting. And I was a shooting guard. Like, come on. But Jenny and Aneesa, they go up first. Aneesa, I was proud of Aneesa. I said she is at a disadvantage. Before it even started, I said she had a disadvantage. She said she feels like it was a personal decision to put her in. She just wants to give out targets because motherfuckers deserve it. Jenny, she can't even get the ball up in there. I said, Jenny, you is popcorn muscles. That's what that is. Like, there's certain people that are built like Jenny, but when it comes to actually being an athlete, they're not that. Like James from the last season, he was prime proof of that. But Era 1 was cheering on Aneesa. Aneesa was doing really, really good. Like, I was shocked. Her endurance was up. I was like, okay, so she really was in there working. Like, she was working. But she wants to win because she's put in the work in the offseason. Jenny is showing that she's more brawn than anything else. Like, she's strong, but she ain't got no endurance. Aneesa's doing a lot better than her. She's going back and forth. She's not winded. She's keeping going. Jenny is stopping and pausing and sounding like she's about to have an asthma attack at one point, but it gets super duper close at the end. Aneesa was about to grab that ball because she had her last set. She doesn't catch the ball. She has to go ahead and get the damn Jack's bag. Jenny then goes and she catches her. She gets it in. Jenny wins barely. I was actually sad that Aneesa lost. I was rooting for her. But Jenny wins. Derrick and Horacio. I said, this is in Horacio's wheelhouse. Soccer player. Soccer is endurance. Like, you play soccer, you playing for damn near 90 minutes at a professional level, which he did. You playing for 90 minutes. Sometimes it goes over 10 to 15 minutes. So that's all it is endurance. So I'm like, Horacio, you got this. But then again, Derrick, you can't count him out because Derrick, as old as he is, that nigga is still agile. But he was slightly in the lead at one point. He started getting cocky, grabbing hella jacks, even though I can't even say that I wouldn't do that because I would have done the same thing. If I can grab as many as I can, I'm going to do it. But he grabbed so many that when he was trying to get the ball, it knocked some of the jacks out. So that fucked him up at that point. Horacio then took the lead. It was super tight all the way to the end. Horacio calls check, but nobody knows who got all their jacks on there because they both have all 40 up. So they get back there with TJ. TJ ends up saying the first to place all 40 jacks on the board was Derrick. Derrick pulled out the upset and got out Horacio. Derrick is 2 for 2. That's where he shines. He shines in the elimination. Horacio ain't been the Horacio that we saw on his rookie season because he was kicking everybody's ass. But Derrick and Jenny, they get to select their targets. Era 1, they chose Tina and CT. Era 2, CT. Keep that in mind. Era 2, Emily and Nehemiah. Era 3, nobody was volunteering. Nobody. It was down to Corey and Devin because Jordan has already volunteered, so he's not going to be chosen. It's down to those two. Like I said, I don't know who. I can't remember if they made a decision on somebody doing it, but regardless, Devin didn't want to budge. Corey didn't want to budge. But Devin talking about something. That's what we said. We said that. I'm like, I don't think y'all did. Why aren't you budging? Why aren't you going down there? Why Corey got to go down there and do it? But they chose Devin. Good. And Derrick chose Tori. Era 4, Olivia volunteered. Josh and KellyAnne both did not volunteer. Keep in mind, this one is different, though, because Josh said that he would go in. Josh did not volunteer to go in. Why? Because CT was over there. He knows that there's a possibility that he could go in there against CT. Bitch ass. Like, he's such a bitch. But he bitches out. KellyAnne gets chosen in to go in as a target. He ain't happy about it. He ain't too excited about it. But the targets, as we know, they have to win the next mission to stay out of the arena. Next week, we got Cara Maria versus, I don't know if it's next week. Y'all let me know. But the next episode, we got Laura versus Cara Maria. And Laura, and that word bitch, when it comes to Cara Maria, she put an emphasis on bitch. Because she called her a bitch. I was like, damn. But that's it. Thumbs up the video if you have not already. Please do that. Drop a comment. Do that. I need y'all to engage with me. And subscribe if you are new here. I will see y'all either next, it's probably not next week, the week after next. But if y'all want to hear me talk about the challenge more in depth, I'm going on the Dual Alliance podcast tomorrow with my 2 dogs. And we're going to talk about it more in depth there. I will drop the link on my community page if you want to listen to it live and watch it live. But I'll see y'all then. Peace.